The new generation 2022 Acura NSX is finally here, with latest improvements from the first modern build back in 2017. With its new features such as technologies, upgraded exterior, interior styling and engine build. But is the NSX worth the payout for what it's worth? In this video, I'm going to be telling you guys everything you need to know about the new 2022 Acura NSX. But first, subscribe if you haven't already for the latest car updates here on YouTube. I don't normally do this by starting off the video with some bad news, but for the new 2022 NSX, only 300 of these cars will be made and only available in the US. Sorry rest of the world, but you're going to have to get them imported if you want one of these. Comparing this to the original Honda NSX of the 1990s, it's looking very different in my opinion. The 90s version had sort of a lot of similarities to say the Ferrari F40, with that kind of square edges and box style shape. Well, the whole thing looks kind of square if you ask me. Acura seems to be copying the trends of other sports cars with a very similar design to McLaren's for sure. So let's start with the front of this vehicle. The sharp edges along the bottom of the grille mimic the idea of a modern Lamborghini if we don't show the top half of the car and remove the logo. Two vertical air intakes on the bonnet and the idea that the car slowly rises as you go further down it. Along the side of the car we have these elongated wing mirrors, so you can see over the back of those very overpronounced rear wheel arches. Around the back of the car, and if we switch off all the lights, you can see a full length brake light strip that curves back round underneath itself. Personally, I'm a huge fan of these, and they can be found on the all-new electric Dodge Charger and the new TT models. A flicked-up fixed spoiler and two large air vents that go parallel each side. After 6 years, we've seen the same 600 horsepower engine in the Type S variation in limited production. However, this may be the last year of production for a combustion engine, with the new 2023 model potentially being all electric. Sad times indeed, folks. But for now, NSX has put in a thirsty 3.5 litre 24 valve V6, pushing 520 brake horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque, with this being a mid-engine car all-wheel drive. However, this new 2022 model still features the 9-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, with 3 electric motors to work alongside the new V6. One motor to power the rear axle, while the other 2 independently operate the drive between each of the front wheels. Now Acura has done an amazing job with this latest model, making it lightning quick. This 2022 NSX will lay down a 0 to 62 miles an hour in just 2.9 seconds. This beats rival times. No, sorry, it smokes rival times such as Audi R8s and the McLaren 570S. In quiet and sports mode, the steering is punctual and accurate throughout, and very light to the touch, with reporters saying the belief for this is to make the handling and driving of these cars much easier on the day-to-day folks. However, this does have its downsides if you're buying this car for track uses, as it isn't really firm enough even when you put it into Sport Plus and track mode. Yes, the power steering system dials in a bit more weight, the car does respond smartly to the slightest driving impacts, but still it could be a bit more firmer for you track guys. However, when driving this car, you will notice a few blind spots, and the lack of driving assistance, which might put safety concerned drivers off this car completely, as the NSX team have had a hard time trying to make sure it met minimum safety guidelines. That's right, I said minimum. Well, I can tell you one measure that it has for sure, and that's a standard airbag, so good job on that sense, I guess. Hybrid vehicles are more efficient in a stop-and-go city traffic than combustion engines, and the NSX is no different. For you city drivers, you'll see a rating of around 21 miles to the gallon, which beats the new Audi R8 V10 by a huge 7 miles to the gallon. Comparing this now to the new Porsche 911 4S, it matches the NSX's 21 miles to the gallon rating in the city. However, the Porsche wins for motorway driving, beating the NSX with a rating of 28 miles to the gallon, and the NSX only doing a rate of 22. Wait, that's very similar to the city driving. Well, I guess those electric batteries do help. Reporters have said at times they reached highs of 24 mpg, but never any higher though. The interior on this NSX does involve comfort, so you daily drivers can enjoy this car. However, its cabin doesn't see nor feel premium and luxurious expectations from the manufacturer. One thing I do love is the optional carbon fibre trim steering wheel. The bright red leather may appeal to the younger crowd, but personally I find this to be, as we say in England, very roadman style. Reporters have questioned the lack of thigh support, which seems to be becoming more standard across modern cars these days. For something marked at the everyday supercar, the NSX's interior storage is shocking all round on this model. But hey, come on, it's a sports car, not a soccer mum's car. The boot for this model is located right behind the engine, which might be a problem if you're using the car to buy frozen goods or do your weekly shops with. Plus, the size of the boot, people have complained and said that they can only fit one carry-on suitcase in there, so not really ideal for couples, even though it's a two-seater. A 7-inch touchscreen information system with navigation comes standard. Also, ELS Studio 9-speaker stereo. The touchscreen system is taken from Hondas, and the same complaints people have been having with them are also starting to see this on the new NSX. The system's interface doesn't really scream 2022, and the menu setup is non-user friendly. To make matters even worse, this has to be done through a touchscreen as buttons have been reduced on the interior of this car. Also now featuring a touch-sensitive volume slider, which makes matters even more difficult. I recently found out that the car that I've been using for the past 2 weeks has all touch-sensitive controls in the steering wheel. Now, I have to say, I very much dislike touch-sensitive controls. I feel manufacturers are trying to bring cars into the modern technology world, but I don't care for touch sensitivity. I want to know how you guys feel, because I prefer the physical movement or a physical button. Let me know by commenting down below. So, what's this NSX going to set you back if you end up buying one? Starting prices come in at $171,495. Well, first you need to customize your model with either bright colors such as thermal orange or indie yellow, with extra costs for hue coloring. The interior coloring comes at no extra cost, so you can go wild or as crazy as you like in there. One upgrade that everyone is talking about and saying it's so worth it is the carbon ceramic brakes. That's if you do plan on throwing this thing around a track, then I too would personally recommend this upgrade. After those changes, we are now looking at the price mark of around $192,000. If you are one of the lucky 300 to get your hands on this new NSX, you'll be glad to know it comes with 4 years warranty or the first 50,000 miles on the combustion engine. With the electric motors, they're all covered for up to 8 years or the first 100,000 miles. And this can be done at any of your local BMW, Audi or Porsche garages. Overall, Acura has outdone this latest NSX, with price differences coming in at around the same as the new Audi R8 and McLaren 570S. I do fully believe you are going to get your money's worth out of this vehicle.